After last year's 4,000-kilometer road trip to Sweden and Norway, we decided to repeat our Scandinavian adventures with a Finnish journey from Helsinki to the North Pole. But yeah, that didn't actually happen. So welcome to Scotland 2025, 21 days of road tripping from the lowlands to the highlands, south to north, east to west, castles, lakes, valleys, dusty roads, rain, wind and an actual storm named Flores. Introducing 3 Dutch adventurers and a camper named Just Go Already. Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland. So what is the best time to visit? That is actually also the worst time to visit, because in August the chance of rain is least and the price of hotel nights is the highest. The average price per night in August went up to nearly £500 per night, making Edinburgh rooms the most expensive in the world. Thankfully we booked well in advance. So we opted for luxury accommodation at the University of Edinburgh, of course. 3 people, 2 rooms, different buildings, very straightforward accommodation, indestructible undergraduate furniture and a very decent breakfast at the university eatery. A sunny day in which we mostly walked through the town, explored the National Museum, the National Art Gallery and soaked up the city atmosphere. Time to pick up our 7-meter camper and drive off into the wilds. We took a taxi to the Just Go camper depot and then spent several hours waiting for our camper to be ready. Plenty of things are not quite right, but we would find out about this only later. Finally we set off and headed north on the last bits of quality roads we would see for a while. No stress at all, driving off on the left, enjoying some lovely roundabouts and unexpected road tunnels. So how tall was this vehicle again? Our first overnight is in Pitlochry, about an hour and a half drive to the north, a small but very clean campsite in a beautiful area. In the morning we set off to Braemar, the Cairngorms National Park, smack in the middle of Scotland. On the way we find a Tesco supermarket and load up on supplies and fuel as we get our first experiences with driving an oversized camper on some very small roads. At the Devil's Elbow viewpoint we get to enjoy the sunshine and great views. Before driving the last little bit to the Braemar Caravan Park, we will stay for 3 nights. Braemar is a tiny town in the middle of the national park, surrounded by mountains and beautiful views. We enjoyed the great weather on our first day by going for a walk, first through the town and then over a local forest trail. Our third day in Braemar was a forced stay-at-home day. With storm Flores ripping trees to pieces, we turned up the heater in our camper. Heavy rain caused a midnight flooding in the camper as one of the windows was leaking badly. Duct tape saved us here. We spent the rest of our trip with colorful duct tape on the outside of the camper, maybe an odd sight, but it was great to be dry. On our departure from Braemar, the storm had gone down, but we still caught a lot of wind on the next day as we made our way further north toward Inverness over small park roads. We enjoyed some great sights as we drove through empty valleys filled with blooming heather. The storm had cleared the sky, giving everything a deep blue background with white clouds. Inverness is the most northern Scottish city, and after this we would only see small towns and villages before we made our way back south again. The Inverness campsite is in the middle of the city and had completely filled up with campers in the evening. We stayed one overnight in Inverness with the intention of driving along Loch Ness. We did drive, but we didn't actually stop anywhere. We took the northern road down towards Fort Augustus at the southern end of the loch. The weather was a bit middling and the roads were packed with trucks, campers and tourists. We did stop along the lakeside and went down for a look at the water, but once in Fort Augustus we didn't get out of the car as the massive car park there was overflowing. Instead we turned around and drove back up towards Inverness. Back in Inverness, the weather was much better and we walked into the city centre and explored the old city. We found a bookstore and had a bit to eat and did some light shopping. And yes, they do sell deep fried sushi in Scotland. Today's journey takes us all the way up to the most northern part of Scotland along the east coast. Sunshine and deep blue skies makes the 3-hour drive a relaxing bit of the journey. We're headed towards Gills Bay. Today we explored a bit around Gills Bay and the nearby John Oak roads. We visited the lighthouse, the nearby spectacular cliffs and a local harbour. Lots of fun trying to navigate the camper over small roads more suitable to sheep. We ended the day with pizza in an old city bus at the campsite. full day's drive from the northeast of Scotland to the northwest top corner, we encountered all types of weather except for maybe snow. Wind and icy rain made us feel sorry for the many cyclists we encountered on the steep hills. At the end of the day, the sky cleared, although the wind stayed, and we parked our camper at the Sango Sands campsite in Durness, on a cliffside near the sandy beaches. drive, we arrived at the Sands Caravan and Camping site. This site is much larger than any of the campsites we've been to so far on this journey. Located next to a sandy beach, it has a small restaurant and plenty of space. After yesterday's drive of so many hours, today is an off day. Instead we go for a couple hours of walking along a local moor in Gairloch, up and down hills around a small lake. As we go further south towards the Isle of Skye, we slowly approach civilization again. The roads become busier, and as we approach the Skye Bridge, we encounter the first traffic jams. Our campsite is still quite a drive and located in the middle of Skye. From this place we can explore both the west and the east of Skye. Our first full day in Skye takes us around the eastern part of Skye. The first part of the road is mostly one track, small roads and quiet. But as we turn towards the east coast of Skye, the roads become better, but also much busier. From here on, we're in the touristic heart of Skye, with overflowing car parks and sightseeing spots that are too crowded to even consider visiting. On the second day in Skye, we visited Dunvegan Castle, which was just around the corner from our campsite. A great visit to an old Scottish castle that has some really nice gardens around it. Of course, the sunshine really set the mood. The rest of the day we drove around the west side of Skye before we looked back to our campsite. On our way out of Skye and towards Fort Williams and Glen Nevis, we stopped and visited, of course, how could we not, at Eilean Castle. We made a tour of the castle and continue on our way further south. So while actually climbing Glen Nevis without preparation might have been a tad ambitious, we settled for a 4-hour walk through the valley instead, along the river on a muddy trail where we had to work around obstacles and sheep, but the trail had some really nice sights with waterfalls and a steep climb up the opposite slope. After our time in Glen Nevis, we drove to Stirling, where we spent the last nights of our holiday in Scotland. From our campsite, the Witch's Crag, we walked into the city, but not before climbing up the National Wallace Monument.
Yeah, you can go. Freedom!
Having handed in our camper, we took a final taxi back into Edinburgh. We stored our luggage at the train station and we spent the day wandering around the shopping streets before making our way back to the airport.